No, your speakers are fine. I was just messing with you. Converted man here. Ah, we're going to look at a video. Oh yeah, I know. Surprise. Yeah, I've never done that before. We're going to talk about it. I don't know why I say we when it's me, but I guess you are along for the ride. So we are looking at it together. In a way, I'm looking at it and then telling you about it. Anyways, this video has undeniable proof of God. It's a very serious topic, so I'm going to give it all the serious attention that it deserves. Let's check out this video.
How do we know there's a God? That's a question that somebody sent in. How do we know there's a God? What's proof that there's a God? The proof that there's a God is the fact that there's a world.
So, if I didn't mute myself, there's a world, and that proves God. Now, remember in the start where I pretended to be muted just for enjoyment and funniness sake? This time, I really did do it. But who knows if I'm doing it or not? I don't know anymore. Anyways, I'm not sure how a world proves God. Maybe he'll explain. Let's find out together. But why is he rocking? Is he in a rocking chair? Is it a nervous tick? Is it going to make anyone else seasick? I don't know. Let's check it out together. And rock with me.
It's common sense that something cannot create itself.
It's common sense that something can't create itself. Okay.
And, the old joke that Rabbi Emmanuel Shochat used to say about the person who went from the village to the big city to figure out the train. He comes to the big city and he checks out the train. This is going back to the 1850s, 1840s. And he comes home and he says it's a car. The car is, I don't know, 30, 40 feet long, 50 feet long. At the top of the car, there's a cable, which attaches it to a car in front of it. And the car in front of it moves, so the car behind it moves.
What?
So the geniuses
Do
of
what
the
now?
shtetl stroke their beards. Wow, that's brilliant.
Huh?
But how does the car in the front move? Well, that car is attached to a third car, and they're coupled also by
What?
a cable.
Yeah.
The third car moves, the second car
Right.
moves, and the first car. So they stroke their.
This isn't a very good joke. Usually a joke is like, boom, boom, boom. Like two rabbi walk into the bar. Ow, they say. Yeah, that bar hit my head. Oi, kavaka. There's a joke. I think I'm going to stop wiggling back and forth and sideways. It's making me nauseous. So, let me guess. You're pretending that there's a train being pulled by a car, etc. And then, like, there's no stop to that chain, right? Because, like, it goes on forever, right? Okay, well, so which car is pushing? Well, that's a very interesting thing because one of them would have to start. Once the object is in motion, then it stays in motion unless something else acts upon it to stop it, like, friction. But let's pretend that we had a frictionless world. Well, then, it'd be a very different world, or just the train, the tracks are frictionless, something like that, whatever. And you put a car on there, a train car, and you push it, the car will keep going. And also we'd have to get rid of wind resistance and stuff like that, But let's just pretend we got rid of all that, and the thing will just keep going forever because there's nothing to stop it, right? And so if it was always in motion from the start, then, and if there was nothing to stop it, then it would always have been in motion. Now, whether or not you would be able to tell the difference whether it was starting or always had been in motion is irrelevant. Listen, you come up to it, you see that it's going around and around in circles, and you're like, oh my God, it's going around. Now, maybe it's been going around forever, or maybe it just started a few minutes ago. Who knows? All you know is what you can observe, right? But if you attach multiple cars to it and there was no friction, and it had been always moving, then those cars also would still go around and around and around. So no problem there, but please continue with your broken, tired analogy that isn't really that funny, that you're pretending is a joke, so that we can get to the point where you prove God is real by saying that there's a world and then telling a joke somehow.
Beards again, wow. Anyway, it goes on for 99 cars till it gets to the locomotive. And when it gets to the locomotive, they're saying, how does that car move? He says, oh, that I don't know. So the people say to him, so then exactly what information did you bring us back? So he says, what do you mean? I gave you 99% of the information I provided. I just didn't provide the first little detail. And of course, the whole point is that the first little detail is the critical one, is the seminal one. The idea that you have to prove that there is a God is in itself sad.
It's just sad. It's really just sad that you have to prove things. Isn't that just sad? Man, I hate that, man. I go to my bank. I have to prove that I have an account. Isn't that just sad? I got pulled over. Yeah, they gave me a ticket, which I'm going to totally beat. It's really awesome. I'll tell you the story later once I start going off into random incoherent tangents that have nothing to do with the video. I guess this technically counts as a tangent because I mentioned it, but I'll tell you the rest of the story later. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, right. I had to prove that I had a driver's license. Isn't that just sad? Oh, man. It's just sad that we have to prove things. I hate having to prove things. Man. It's just sad that when you say something, you have to prove it. Damn, that sucks. Oh, why can't we live in a world where you can just say shit and you don't have to prove it? That would be great, wouldn't it? Wait, I'm not supposed to eat lobsters? There we go. Okay, now back in my head you go, or on my head, whatever you're doing. Get in there. Get in there. All right. What was I saying? All right. Okay, so isn't it just sad that we have to prove God? What can we just say? Isn't it sad we have to prove magic? Ah, man, that really annoys me. Okay, anyways.
Because we should know God inherently. Or to say that backwards, a person who knows God only because of a proof means that he has a problem in his relationship with God, which is very sad, because proving that God exists is a tiny part of the issue.
Proving that God exists is a tiny part of the issue. Just a tiny part, you know. Undeniable proof of God, that's a tiny issue. So far, to recap, a world proves God. There's a train that has a lot of cars that are all being pulled, but we get to the caboose, we don't know how that's going anywhere. And isn't it sad that we have to prove God? But it's a small problem. But we haven't resolved it yet, nor have we proven anything at all. So, okay, whether it's big or small, could you give us the proof, please?
developing a relationship with God, sensing Him in our lives, and getting support from His presence.
Sensing God in your life and getting support from His presence. Well, I have a problem with that, Rabbi. The problem is I don't have proof that there's a God to sense or get any help from at all in the first place. You seem to think that's a small part of the problem. I think it's kind of a big problem. Hey, God, how's it going? God didn't say anything. God, are you over here, God? Are you behind me, God? Hey, God, are you back there? Maybe God's in the other room. I don't know, but God's not answering me out loud. Hello? Hello? Nothing. Well, maybe God's somewhere else. I don't know. What does God look like? I don't know. Where do I find him? How do I feel God? How do I know that I am feeling God? How do I know there's a God in the first place? That is kind of the problem. You say your video is called Undeniable Proof of God. Where's your proof? Forget about undeniable. Let's have any proof, please.
Is far more important than having proof that there is a God. So the need for a proof, especially the chronic need for a proof, the idea that I have to constantly remind myself, means that I'm not letting God be and focusing instead of on what's the proof for Hashem, what's the process by which I can make that leap of faith away from just having proof for Hashem and developing a relationship with Him.
So the problem isn't that you don't have proof. The problem is that you don't just trust that there is proof and have a relationship despite the fact that you have no proof. I'm a turkey. Oh, man. How does any of that work? I don't know anymore. Wow. What's wrong with you? Listen, we planned this out, okay? I made this thing. I said I was going to go live, and you were supposed to not interrupt me, and you're messing around. Sorry. Right. Where was I? Right. So proof. We don't have it. Okay. But that's not the problem. The real problem is we're focusing too much on the proof and not enough on the relationship. What relationship? What proof? Doesn't matter. But you said you had proof. But then the proof doesn't actually matter. It matters about the relationship. Ah! At least I don't have to do a fucking truth table. Ah, damn it, I said I wasn't going to mention those. Wait, but I also said I might mention them, and I did.
But it really is that simple. The fact that there's a word is the proof that there is a God. Or the old story that we heard as children about this rabbi who met this prince who was an atheist. And as they were talking, an inkwell fell over. So the prince went to get someone to clean it up. And while he went away, the rabbi made a picture. When the prince returned, the prince was rather surprised that the rabbi could draw so well. He said, "Who made this picture?" Well, the ink fell over and it spontaneously created all these images and forms. And the prince said, "You know that's ridiculous." And so the rabbi said, "And the world should create itself, isn't?"
Not gonna get mad. Not gonna get mad. Not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna get mad. Sure, he did the stupid watchmaker argument, but I'm not gonna get mad at that. No. I am better than that. I am not gonna start yelling and screaming at him for using the watchmaker argument again. No, I'm not gonna do it. Not getting it. No. Okay. Happy place. I'm in my happy place. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So he made the watchmaker. Okay. So the ink falls down on the paper and it makes a pretty design inks can do that, of course. You know, you have, uh, uh, you know, uh, you've seen the Rorschach test, right? Those are made by ink splotches that are, you take a, ink on a paper, and you fold the paper in half, and then you get these little things like this. Check it out. Oh, look, here's an example. I don't know, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There you are. There you go. What is that? What do you think that is? What does it look like to you? Well, it might just look like an ink blot. You could say that, sure, but you could use your imagination. Imagination. And say it kind of looks like a tree being shoved into a giant's ass, a giant raccoon. See, there's the face of the raccoon right there. And then, like, I got to put this in MS Paint. I can't just do this like it is. I gotta really explain it to you guys. You don't want me to just do it like that. I gotta really, if I'm gonna prove that this is a tree being shoved into a raccoon's ass, I better prove it. Okay, where is it? There is MS Paint. Okay, so look. All right, so here, right? All right, let's get this. Obviously, raccoon's face, right? Right? Okay, yeah. Now, see, maybe you don't see it, so we need an actual raccoon. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's get that. That'll do. We'll get his face in there. Okay. And we'll put it there. We'll do that. We'll do that. Right? Okay. You see that? You see that? Right? Okay. So there you go. Obviously it's the raccoon, right? And then these are like the legs of the raccoon, right? So you just go like that, right? Okay. And then, like, these are the little hands of the raccoon, okay? And then, like, obviously this part then, well, what's this? It's not his dick. I mean, that's ridiculous. Obviously, well, let's get rid of his head here. We already have a head there. Obviously, well, maybe it could be his dick, but I think it's a tree. It's a tree. Let's get a tree. Picture, fucking look at the trees. Look at the tree. Get the picture of the tree. Put the tree in there. Get the trunk of the tree, and we'll put the trunk of the tree there. And now, see, obviously, that's what that is, right? And that just didn't assemble itself magically on its own because of ink. That's what that was, right? What's that? You're on a tangent. I'm on a tangent. If I was on a tangent, I'd be telling the story of how I got a ticket. But I'm not going to tell that story because we're not going to waste time. Anyways, so yes, ink, when it spells on a paper, can make a thing that looks like a fucking raccoon getting a tree shoved up his ass. And that's due to randomness. But there's a filtering mechanism also that we're ignoring here because your analogy is fucking broken because you don't seem to understand biological evolution or, well, in this case, how the earth was formed, which would be cosmology, I suppose. And so, yeah, you don't seem to understand that. And so the world started out, there was a whole bunch of dust, right? A bunch of particles, a bunch of elements, and space, stardust, and rocks and things, and they all just kind of came together because of gravity, and then they made a world, okay? And that took a while. Nobody thinks it was nothing. Well, you guys think it was nothing, but we don't. That's how it worked. Now, how that works is another question, but nonetheless, we know how that works. You apparently don't know how that works. How did it come together? It's not like the ink thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, it's not like the ink, you idiotic. I'm not going to get mad. Not going to get mad. Okay, so I'm sure he's going to say nothing but sane stuff from now on, and I can relax knowing that he's not going to say anything that will piss me off.
We're living in a world which has created so much confusion about God that people who consider themselves intelligent have actually talked themselves to the point where the simple logic that I just presented is not considered adequate.
We're living in a world where people have talked themselves out of the simple logic not logic, you're not using logic, you're no. Yeah, we're living in a world that's complicated. Oh, it's so fucking complicated. Yeah, the real world is actually complicated. That's how reality really is, right? We're all made of molecules and stuff. But I don't understand. Let's live a simpler time when we threw rocks at people and dragged them to the edge of town to stone them to death for wearing mixed fabric. Logic. You wouldn't know logic if it came up to you and smacked your hat off your shaking, rocking head.
As they'll put it, well, it's proof that the world is a cause, but it doesn't prove that that cause is God. Now, exactly what in heaven's name does that mean?
What does it mean? The world has a cause, gravity. That doesn't prove God. Correct. That's what that means. It means what it means. That is how words work of. What do you mean by the word mean? I'm going to pretend to be stupid and not understand words. Come on, man.
The final analysis is everything has to start someplace. And the thought of it going...
All right, everything has to start someplace. Let's keep that in mind.
Back and back and back, change after change after change ad infinitum. Isn't philosophically logical, and I don't think it's physically logical. It's
okay, so you can't go back infinitively because that's not philosophically logical. Whatever, fuck it. And it's not. He just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to him. Appeal to personal ignorance, But yeah, so it just doesn't work. He doesn't think. But everything has to have a thing, right? Everything, except for we can't have it be everything because that doesn't make sense to have it always be everything. So the statement that you made where you said that everything has to have some sort of thing that starts it or cause or however you put it, now I can't remember. That means that when the cop pulls you over and asks for your driver's license, you give them their driver's license. Wait, no, that's the story that I was going to tell about getting the ticket. That's nothing to do with the proof of God. Neither does this video. Help me.
It's not that complicated to say that there is a proof that there is a God.
No, it's not complicated to say that there's proof of anything. The complicated part is actually offering the proof, apparently. It's so complicated that you haven't done it yet. This is proof that you are a banana. Yes, this blue sheep is proof that the rabbi, although he looks like a human, is actually a banana. And he's also bananas. Yes. How is that proof of it? Don't worry about it. It's just really complicated. Isn't it just sad that I have to prove that this proves that Rabbi is a banana? I mean, come on. It's just sensical. We know that this didn't just make itself, and we know that bananas didn't just make themselves. Therefore, the Rabbi must be a banana because this equals banana because both had to be made by something, and that something has to be a banana that is the Rabbi. You all following along yet? Yeah. All right. Write that into a syllogism. I fucking dare you.
There is an attitude that says that something which is philosophically proven, meaning it's proven by the laws of logic and not by direct evidence that you can observe and interpret physically, any philosophical proof is not a real proof.
Any philosophical proof, logical proof, those things are different, but logic does fall within philosophy, and so does science to some degree. But there's measures. See, logic has a system, science has a system, philosophy in and of itself doesn't have its own system. There isn't a way with just philosophy to be like, hey, Immanuel Kant, he's wrong. Aristotle, he is right. Because you need some system to determine what you mean by wrong and right. And philosophy doesn't really do that because that's not what it do. So if you have a proof in philosophy, you have a nothing because there isn't proof in philosophy because it doesn't do that. However, in logic, if you have a proof, then great, you have a valid and sound argument, which is one that the form is valid and all the premises are actually true and everything flows and it doesn't, violate the law of identity or the law of non-contradiction or something like that, or excluded middle or truth table. Truth table. No, sorry. But you don't have a logical argument even a little here. So you don't have that to offer us to examine. It would be nice if you had something for us to look at and see whether or not it makes any coherent sense, logically speaking, but you're not even offering that. So how about, proof? When I say, hey, I have a fucking plastic lobster, oh, look, it's a plastic lobster. Now, I did say fucking, but I can't show you that on YouTube. So, if you'd like to see that, I do have an OnlyFans. Not yet, but I'll totally make one if anyone wants it. Don't think I won't do it. I'm crazy. I'll do it. Oh, yeah. And then I'll show you. Oh, man. Don't make me do it. Don't think I won't. Go ahead, comment. I dare you. Post a comment. Hey, Deacon Man, I want to see your OnlyFans. Yeah, but I'm going to make you, spend $8 or something. No, $18. Yeah, no, $88. Yes, $88 to see the lobster fuck. What was I talking about? The ticket? No, not the ticket. I wasn't talking about the damn ticket. I'm talking about the God. He hasn't proven God yet. That's the whole point of the lobster being a porn star. I don't know what's going on anymore.
A whole school of thought that thinks this way. When you are a frum boy or frum girl and you go to school, go to college, and your professor tells you that religion is philosophy, what he's really telling you is that religion isn't real because philosophy.
No, he's not telling you that. Religion is, yes, a philosophy. I don't know that you would say religion is philosophy. Religion has philosophy. There's philosophy of religion. There's religion philosophy. There's philosophy of God, also called theology. And religion is largely mythology and tradition. But none of that means that any of it is true or not true. But what? You're just complaining about professors saying things that they probably don't say? Oh, those damn professors always telling us shit. Yeah, I'll agree that some professors say stuff that they probably shouldn't do. I think, for example, that professors should be apolitical because school, unless you're doing a class about, politic class, but even there, they should definitely be apolitical because they should just teach you what the thing is, what happened in a non-biased way so that you decide for yourself. Teach you how to think, not what to think. That would be good, but sadly, too many professors are telling people what to think and not how to think, but that's a whole different topic for another day, which I'll not cover. I'll just complain about because I don't cover that sort of stuff. Anyways, the point is, you haven't proven a lobster yet. Yeah, that was the point.
Philosophy is logic not based on proof because they have narrowed down, they've limited the definition of the word proof to something which can prove physically and empirically.
Proven has essentially, okay, whatever the definition you want to use is, I guess, is your definition, but I ask for empirical evidence because it clears this up to some degree. Of course, natural language is a weird thing, and you might not know what I mean by empirical evidence. So I try to clarify it. Empirical evidence, visible, tangible. Here's the thing that I'm talking about: a red lobster that's plastic. Here's the red lobster that's plastic. I'm talking about Bigfoot. Here's Big. Oh, I can't show you Bigfoot. I don't have an example of a Bigfoot. Here's what Bigfoot might look like. I could show you that, and at least that's something. But then we have to go, wait a minute. How do you know what Bigfoot might look like? Well, I found some prints on the ground. Okay, fair enough. Where did you find the prints and when? Well, I found them in this hiking trail where people hike a lot. Well, maybe they're human prints, but they were really, really big. Maybe they had big shoes on. Well, I mean, maybe, but they look like feet. Well, I mean, any number of things could happen to make them look like feet. Maybe they put on shoes that were really big that look like feet to trick people into thinking that there's a Bigfoot. No, that couldn't be. Nobody would ever do that. But there's a souvenir stand right there that sells souvenirs for Bigfoot. And one of the souvenirs is a giant foot that you can put on your foot that makes it look like a Bigfoot is your foot so that you could put it in the ground to make people think that there was a Bigfoot so that you'd go buy the big feet at the Bigfoot store. Well, that doesn't prove that Bigfoot doesn't exist. Isn't it just sad that we can't prove that Bigfoot exists? Why do we have to ask? You see, infinity isn't forever, and Bigfoot couldn't have made itself, so we had to have a Bigfooter, and a Bigfooter requires a foot, and you can't have a foot unless you have an inch, and you can't give an inch unless you give a mile, and you can't have a mile without a high, and you can't get a mile high club unless you have a sax, and sax, as we know, proves God. Duh! Anyway, so then he pulls me over, right? And he's like, oh, your tag is expired. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that my tag was expired. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Okay, here's my license, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He goes to the thing, blah, 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 sitting there for a while. Comes back, hey, by the way, your license is also suspended. What? Yeah, my license is suspended? How did that happen? No, it's not. You're lying. That's not true. Wait a minute. I think I know what's going on. There was a glitch in the system with the court thing that had happened a while back, and I bet that's still happening, and that's why it says it's there, but it's not actually there, but they think it's there because their computer says it's there, so therefore it's there. They have proof, but the proof they have isn't actually proof because it's wrong because it was a glitch in the system, which I do have proof of. But now I have to take that to court to prove that because I don't want to pay for the fact of just not a tag ticket, because he probably would have let me go with the warning with that, but having a suspended license and driving, oh, no way. So anyways, he has, I had another person with me, so they drove and we drove to the thing, and then I got a way to get home, blah, 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 blah. But then I called up the people. I'm like, hey, people, remember that glitch in the system thingy? And they're like, yeah, we know about that glitch in the system. Well, I'm like, I need a letter that says that I had a glitch in the system so that it proves the thing. And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, no, you have to say it in this way. They're like, oh, yeah, no, I see that now. I see that. I'm like, yes, you see it in the system. Yes, I see what you're talking about in the system. Okay, you're going to mail me the letter that says it's not my fault, that it was never my fault, that it was an error in the system. Yes, we're going to mail you the letter. And then they did mail me that, so now I can prove it in court. That's the story. Back to the video.
And they've created a very poor world. When you say the only things that are real are things that I can prove, and the only definition of a proof is the things that I can prove physically, yes, you cannot physically prove God because God is not physical.
All right, so we can't prove God because God isn't physical. We can't prove God physically. Okay, but how do you know that it's not physical? How do you know that? Okay, because you're saying that this entity, that this thing isn't this other thing, okay? But you don't have proof of that, nor do you have proof of that. Not physical. What do you mean by not physical? Do you have proof that not physical is a thing that can be? But what proof could you hope to offer of the not physical? Well, we couldn't, because there's nothing there. Right. Because to be physical is to exist. If there's nothing that makes it up, then it is made up. Physical refers to basic, even electricity. That's physical. So the things that make atoms fly around and all that, I think, is energy of some sort. Maybe not electricity. I don't know. Maybe it's gravity. I'm not sure exactly what's making them fly around like they do, or pop around, or whatever the bleep they're doing. Does anyone know how that stuff works? Let me know how that stuff works so I can find out how that stuff works, so I can say how it works later on. But anyways, so whatever that process is, that all is physical because it's made out of that stuff. Okay? So you're talking about a realm where, or you're talking about a thing that isn't made out of anything. Yes, the only thing that I know about that isn't made out of anything is nothing. That is to say, there is not a thing that is not made out of something, because you wouldn't then therefore be a thing anymore. The only other category that this could maybe fall into is an object of the mind. Objects of the minds are things like letters, numbers, musical notes. Okay, so we can say the letter A. We can say the number 1. We can say musical note. I can't remember if it's F sharp or if it's a B flat. And if I get it wrong, we'll all be flat. So I better be sharp about this. You can say those. You can write down what a note is, but that, although it represents something to your mind, it's not a thing that you can find on a tree and pick a note and eat it. That'd be kind of cool, though, if you could, pick musical notes off of trees and eat them, and then they play their note. You might find something that looks like that note on a tree, and it might indeed be edible, and maybe coincidentally it even makes the noise that note makes. But if you did find that, it'd probably be worthwhile to publish that as a study and get it peer reviewed and make sure that people actually believe that you're telling the truth and not making up some shit. Because remember, Deconverted Man said it first. So if you do find that, if you find that, I get credit. But the point is, it's not a thing that exists out there. It exists in here, in our brain. Okay, we can write it down. We can share it with each other. But it's still something that only exists here. And if humans stopped existing, then those musical notes wouldn't matter anymore. The numbers wouldn't matter anymore. The letters wouldn't matter anymore, because there'd be nothing to make sense of those objects of the mind. So God, if it's a non-physical thing, doesn't exist, or it is a thing, but it's a thing that exists in a way like objects of the mind, meaning that God exists in your mind and not anywhere else. So, is that a false dichotomy? Possibly. It could be that God once existed, but then it died, I suppose. But if you're going to say that God is not physical, then you've reduced it into non-existence, or, if I grant some possibilities, an object of the mind. You've made it into one of those two things by saying that it's not physical. By the very fact that we can't demonstrate that there is even a non-physical way that things can even be, that is also an empty assertion that people make, that you couldn't hope to prove unless there was some sort of prediction you could make about it. What models could you make about a non-physical thing. What predictions could you make about that? What tests could you repeatedly run to demonstrate that such a realm is even possible? And if you can't come up with those tests, then you have neither empirical evidence nor repeatable tests. Well, then, what do you have? You have philosophical musings, which do not prove anything. Now, with informal and formal logic, you can make arguments, but to check to see if those arguments are valid and sound, you have to sadly, boo hoo hoo, look at the real world where things are really real or they're not real. That light that's here, that's really on. Now it's really off. Now it's on. And now it's off. And now it's on again. Oh, that's great. So whatever argument I make about that, who the fuck cares? I've got that. I don't need the argument. But you don't even have an argument, Rabbi. So you literally have nothing for us so far.
But the need for God you can prove philosophically. And to simply dispose of philosophy based on the fact that people have abused philosophy, or to dispose philosophy based on the fact that, quote, anybody can say anything they want to philosophy, is intellectually lazy. Philosophy has truth, but the truth of philosophy requires a lot more integrity on the part of the philosopher than physical science, because its logic and its proof is much more nuanced, much more subtle, and much more connected to the pursuer of knowledge, the pursuit of truth. But it doesn't make it false. And it's really important to appreciate that there are things that you can't physically prove that are intellectually imperative, that are philosophically imperative, and to take the risk of stepping outside the safe space of only allowing physical a proof being defined by a direct physical evidence that can be measured and so on and so forth, to the space where you consider something that's not physical but is necessary, that is intellectually necessary because of what the physical world is, what the physical universe is. In Jewish philosophy, and certainly in Hasidus, which when it discusses the question of the necessity for God, there can't be a world without a creator.
And that too is a problem. You need to have a way to falsify the idea that you're presenting. And if you don't have one, then it's an unfalsifiable idea and we don't care about it. So what thing would not count as evidence for God? Or another question would be, what thing would prove not God? What thing would falsify God? And if you can't mention anything, then you're done, boy. You don't have anything at all to offer. Take a chance. Step outside of the physical realm. All right, Rabbi, let's see if you're willing to do that. Shall we? Magic exists. Yeah, magic. Real magic. Not illusion, actual magic. And I know how to do magic. I do. Yes, I do. I know of a magical spell that I can cast upon you or anyone that you want me to. Why not take a chance and step outside of the physical realm where you need proof? Come on. Isn't that silly and sad to ask for proof? Why not take the chance and assume that maybe I do know magic? Now, of course, there is of course a condition. I'm not going to do this for free. Are you kidding me? I'm going to need some money. Now you're a rabbi. I assume you're pretty poor. I'll do it for $100. $100 is not much, you know. Give me the $100. Send $100 to me. You can find out how. You email me, deconvertedman1@gmail.com, and I'll give you a way to send me that money. As soon as I get it, I will do the magic spell on you or whoever you want me to. Now, I haven't told you what that magic spell is. Oh, just wait until you hear it. Oh, it's so amazing. It guarantees perfect health indefinitely until you're tired of living. Isn't that amazing? Perfect health. You can't get injured. You are immune to injury. It's amazing. And extraordinary wealth and success. Now, you'll still have some challenges because we don't want to make it too boring. But we can modify that spell. If you're not happy with that spell, I can make it be whatever spell you want. I know lots of magic. Now, Rabbi, why not take the risk and step outside of the area of wanting proof and just send me that $100? Why would you do that, Rabbi? Or why wouldn't you do that? Does anyone want to send me $100 for a magical spell out there? Let me know in the comment section.
There are two levels. There's a direct level and there's an indirect level. The direct level is what I like to call the orderer, meaning to say there's material, there's matter, there's physical stuff of the universe, which exists in incredible volume, incredible amounts. Then there is the fact that all of this material has been arranged in a very orderly fashion throughout the universe, creating galaxies and stars and planets. And then, of course, on Earth, in addition to all of those very large physical things, Magadlu Masach Hashem, you have the far, far more sophisticated but minute level of things, which is basically life of all different types on this living planet of ours, which is called Ma Rabu Masach Hashem. It's not nearly as massive and as large as the universe, but if you believe Torah, the teeny tiny living things on Earth are as marvelous as the gigantic galaxies out there in the vastness of space, because a living thing is an extraordinary phenomenon, no matter how big or small it is, no how complicated or simple it is. In all of this, when you talk about the role Hashem plays, the role that God, the Creator, plays, there's two levels. The first level, which is certainly philosophically sound, everybody agrees to this, is that someone's got to organize it. The matter of the universe is chaotic, it's disorganized.
The first order, which everybody agrees with, is that somebody had to organize it. Everybody agrees with that. Isn't that interesting, chat? Also, in regards to order of the universe, I would like to present Exhibit A, please. If we could get that on screen here. Yes, this is called a black hole, and I would present it as counter evidence to order. I don't think that that's very orderly, but that's just me. You know, maybe it's a giant vacuum of space to keep it clean. Also, supernova don't seem very orderly to me, but what do I know? Anyways, everybody in chat, if you would be so kind, I would like to take just a quick survey. Take a little bit of your time, I know, and go ahead and say yes, that you agree. Say, I believe in that the universe, because he said everyone agrees. I agree that there had to be somebody, as he said, to put it all in order. If you agree, say, I agree in chat, and I'll put your name up there, and we'll have it there, you know, the thing where the thing is the thing, like that, right? And it will be name after name of people agreeing with him. Now, I, being me, will go first. Now, I think I'll go last. I'll wait for you guys, girls and robots out there, to go ahead and type in agree, or maybe you say disagree, but you can't possibly say disagree, because he said we'd all agree. He said everyone agrees with this idea that the universe had to have someone put it all together. Come on, people, type. It doesn't take that long to type. Disagree. Type in disagree. Hurry up. All right. I've got one person. Come on, everybody. Come on. Type faster. This bit's going on too long. Don't make me tell the ticket story again. The once was good enough. That was funny the first time. It would be funny a second time, wouldn't it? I don't know if it was funny the first time. Probably wasn't funny the first time. I thought it was funny. It was a nice waste of time, though. Disagree. Okay, there's two. Come on, there's two. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, come on, more. Oh, look. Disagree. Oh, fuck no. Does not agree. That's not what I asked you to type. Oh, look. That's good enough. If everyone else types, that's cool too. I was hoping to get like a flood of like, no, but whatever. That's fine. All right. So, oh my God, he was wrong. We don't agree. Yeah. Oh, look, there you go. Basically, doesn't agree. So there you go. And also, I would also not agree with that, Rabbi. So, no, you're wrong. Not everybody agrees with that first idea that you just mentioned.
It's orderly, and someone has to give it order. Or to say this in the language of Hasidus, everybody has to have a soul. Everything which has order has an order because there's a reason for that order. And that order is not only the physical components converging randomly to create the order, but there's something outside of it, giving it form and order and exactitude. And in that.
All right, Rabbi, I'm really going to have to ask you what you mean by order, because I do notice that you're wearing eyeglasses. And that suggests to me that your eyesight isn't as good as it once was, or maybe it never was very good. Why would that be, Rabbi? It doesn't seem like order was present in the making of your eyeballs to me. It seems rather like disorder. I also noticed that your hair, like mine, is gray. Mine is turning gray, but you have lots of gray, lots more gray than I do. I also have a fabulous beard. A fabulous beard. Anyways, not that I'm attracted to the rabbi. And even if I was, you couldn't prove it. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, who doesn't think about it every now and then? They're kosher. Sorry. Anyways, is it hot in here? Whew. Oh, all right. Anyways, yeah. So, something about fucking a rabbi. I don't know anymore. Wait, what? No, that's not what I meant at all. No, that's not what I was talking about. Go back to the video. Oh, right, disorder. Right. No, your body doesn't seem very orderly to me. So I reject the notion of this order that you're talking about. And that's just the human body, which, by the way, I can find more flaws with that don't seem very orderly to me. For example, off the top of my head, the place that I have to urinate from also is the place that I use for making babies. And I think that's a bad idea because, I just think it's like, why can't I have the place where I expel waste be somewhere completely different than the place that's meant for pleasure and fun and making babies? Well, because biological evolution didn't care. But your God, who made the order, supposedly did care. But it put everything next to and on top of each other. Oh, and my throat. When you eat food, there's two little tubes in there. And they're right next to each other. And one's for air and one's for food. And there's this little flap. And sometimes the flap doesn't work. And the food can go where the air is supposed to go. And then you choke to death. That's not very orderly, is it? I don't understand, Rabbi. Please explain this disorder that I seem to observe everywhere.
In a micro way, it's the soul of each separate creation by itself. And in a macro way, it's what we call the soul of the universe, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the creator, which is God. But that speaks to Hashem, to the creator, giving order to primordial matter, to the matter.
All right, Rabbi, a question that you will not answer and no theist has even attempted to do. What gave your God the order that it has? Now, I know the answer. I know the answer. Well, I don't know the answer, but I can intuit what answer you would give. Nothing gave God that order. It always had that order. So you have at least one example of one thing that can be in existence without needing anything else to give it order. Well, then, if God can do that, then can't something else? Sure, why not? If there's a thing that allows God to have always existed and to always be in order, then that same thing could really easily apply to anything else with no logical contradiction implied whatsoever. But you have a special pleading required for God. God is special and unique. It doesn't need to be ordered by anything else. It's always existed. It's the opposite of physical, which means it doesn't exist. It's not inside space time, which means it's nowhere and no when. It's got all this insane power, but it doesn't have anywhere that power comes from. It thinks without a brain. It does things that are just not possible to do, and you have no proof that it does anything at all because you have no proof of it in the first place. But the reason why us pesky atheists ask you guys where did God come from, or in my case, where did the order of God come from, is to try to get you guys to wake up a little bit and realize the severe contradiction that you have, the severe special pleading that you have, not contradiction, forget that, erase, the severe special pleading that you have in regards to your God concept, that it doesn't need to be made, it doesn't need to be put into order. But it's the only thing like that ever. Nothing else can do that because reasons. Not good enough.
That existed before, so to speak. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe adds another dimension. And I love to say this, although I can't prove it to you empirically, that the Tanya's source is the Rambam. As I've said many, many times, if a person studies the Moreh Nevuchim, the Rambam's guide to the perplexed, you see that the Rambam addresses all kinds of theological questions. And although everybody likes to call the Rambam an Aristotelian philosopher, the Rambam is an Aristotelian philosopher only in form, in the style of the philosophy, but on every core issue, he argues with Aristotle. To call the Rambam an Aristotelian philosopher is to say that the Beis Shammai is a Beis Hillel thinker, because they talk about the same subjects, even though on every issue he argues with him. Every core belief that Aristotle holds, that Rambam objects to. I shouldn't say every, but most. And that's what the whole book of Moreh Nevuchim is. Not the whole book. A great majority of the Sefer Moreh Nevuchim is the Rambam bringing you what Aristotle holds and sometimes what Plato holds, and he gives you his own views. The most critical question in the Moreh Nevuchim, the one that is the most exhaustive to the Rambam, you watch the Rambam struggle, if you may use those words, is the question of Yesh Me'ayin. Yesh Me'ayin means ex nihilo. Ex nihilo is Latin, and the way I understand it means it's called Acharei HaHeder, after nothing. That before there was nothing and then there is something. Or to say it in a more sophisticated way, after nothingness there was something. Nothing is nothing. Nothingness means that before the material, the physical universe was physical, it was something else, but not another physical thing in a finer form that was coalesced into a more basic physical thing, but it was non-physical. It was metaphysical, it was ruchnius. What we call in our culture Yesh Me'ayin, something from a non-thing. Yesh Me'ayin means Hashem made the world from himself, from the ayin, which is the source of the yesh, to quote use classic Hasidic terminology. And the ayin is not a lesser physical thing, it's absolutely non-physical. And of all the issues in the Moreh Nevuchim, the one that the Rambam struggles with the most and debates most fiercely is the idea that the matter of the creation once didn't exist. In contrast to Aristotle. Aristotle had a concept of God. Although for all intents and purposes he was an atheist.
All right. Did everybody get that, or do I need to replay any of that? Me personally, I have absolutely no idea what he was talking about. I heard Aristotle. I know who that was. And I think I heard Plato, but he keeps throwing in Jewish words that I don't know. And he's mentioning, I guess, Jewish books that I'm not familiar with. And I'm supposing that he's mentioning Jewish rabbi that I don't care about. So that's not proof of anything to me, but I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. So that's a problem, you know. I mean, I understand, you know, be proud of your heritage, but maybe for us, you know, goyles over here, I think that's the word for non-Jews. It sounds like girls, though, to my brain. It's like, hey, goyles, I'm a guile. Call me a goyle. Not a girl, goyle, a guile. She's a goyle. I'm a guile. I don't know if that makes... that's probably a bad joke. Doesn't really work, does it? L'chaim, I know that word. That's it. Oh, I know the Fiddler on the Roof music. I know that. Everything I know about the Jewish culture is pretty much from that movie and whatever the bleep my brother has said that I actually remember. And he doesn't really talk about it that much. He knows some stuff because he's Jewish, by the way, if you didn't know. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, right. So yeah, he's saying a bunch of words I don't know what the fuck he's saying. That's all I was trying to get through while I was doing all those things. And so, okay, we have a universe that exists, but it's not physical, and God's there, and God uses itself to create everything else from nothing. Well, it's not nothing because God's making it from God, which is interesting, which is different than God making it from nothing because God's the only thing that exists. So God would have to make it from itself because nothing isn't a thing. Unless, of course, there is a nothing and there's also God, but you can't have nothing if there's a God because God is something, and so you couldn't have nothing. But God taking it from nothing, that is to say God just pulling it into existence, would be magic. God does fucking magic. My head hurts. At least it's not a truth table.
Aristotle believed in God. He just believed that God has nothing to do with this world. He doesn't know what's happening here. He doesn't care what's happening here. He cannot know what's happening here. And he certainly cannot be mashgiach b'hashgacha pratis, so there can't be prophecy, revelation from God to man. There can't be reward and punishment, all the other things that are core Jewish beliefs. Aristotle believed that there's a creator to the universe, but that he's an orderer, meaning the material of the universe is a kadmon. It always was. And Hashem simply organizes it. This is exactly what the Alter Rebbe says in the beginning of the second chapter.
You know what, Rabbi? I don't care who said what. I really don't. It's not proof of God or anything. I don't care who said what. Can you please give us the proof? I mean, really, it's been 11 minutes, and somehow I've been here an hour yelling at you, waiting for you to give us proof. I don't know how that works. Nobody knows how deconverted man works, even deconverted man. But you know what deconverted man doesn't know the most? Women. That's a question that even God can't answer. Oi, women, what did I do there? I must have been drunk. I don't know. No, or maybe God is a woman. No. God's definitely a man because only a man could screw things up bad. No, women could screw it up badly. No, but if it was a woman, then driving the universe would result in a crash. Big bang, crash, big bang. Oh, it is a woman then. No, that's sexist, which means God is a man again. Maybe God's both. Maybe God's nothing. I don't know anymore. Let me know what God is of the anymore in the comments. We're almost done with this video. Let's get to the finish line.
Of the Shara Yichid Ve'emunah, Shemedamim Ma'aseh Shmayim Ve'aretz, L'may Ish V'tach B'leisa. He compares creation to a human being. Uman Hatzei of Keli. There's clay that you collect, and you give it a shape and a form, and you make it into an earthenware vessel. You didn't create the clay. Hashem created the clay. You're simply ordering it. And the philosophers believe that the material of the creation always existed, and all Hashem does is organize it. If you have that concept of Hashem, you're missing a very key component in the idea of Hashem being the creator, which is what we call his havas b'chol rega, the constancy of creation. Hashem has to make the world every single second. When you add the Rambam's idea of Yesh Me'ayin, that Hashem created the world after nothing, and the way the Alter Rebbe explains it based on logical proof, that when you change something absolutely, when you change something in a way that's not consistent with its nature, you take clay and make it into a cup. The clay can just easily be a cup. It can be a saucer or it can be just raw clay. But if you make clay, for example, into a gas, the minute it cools, it becomes clay again. So you have to sustain its condition constantly. And since Hashem created the physical world from non-physical material, that transformation, that change from what's called ayin to yesh has to be every instant. And this is the second dimension in creation. The first dimension.
How do you make physical stuff out of not physical stuff other than magic? There's no mechanical description that explains how God did it. It just says God did it. So you just have to say God did it. And how God did it is not a thing that you can answer. And no theist has even attempted to. For whatever reason, the holy books out there seem to leave that out. Except the lobsterist actually does tell us how the lobster original deity did it. So I think that makes it a better religion. Just saying, if you're going to have a religion, might as well be mine. I mean, the lobsterist, I didn't make it up or anything, I swear. Or maybe I did. I don't know. I never did it, though. Okay. Anyways, how do you do that? How does that work, Rabbi? This isn't proof of God. You're just rambling. Keep going.
In creation is that Hashem gives order to the material of the universe.
Yeah.
And the second is he creates the material of the universe from no material.
How?
Not he creates it from an earlier form or from a finer form.
How does that work?
When I say nothing, it only literally from nothing, he creates it from something which is not at all physical. And when creation is understood on that level,
right,
the Tanya begins by saying that this has to be done constantly. If Hashem were to stop creating the physical matter from its non-physical state for an instant, it would go back to
this isn't proof of God,
because
though.
Since it's an absolute change, it's a radical
nothing you're saying is proof.
Point in time.
Please give proof. You only have like a minute left, Rabbi.
You cannot believe in a
God.
God.
Are you going to say it? I don't care.
To the world is not involved with it because since we hold it, it's not
no, he's not going to give us proof. He's not going to give us an argument.
Which automatically
he's not going to say anything useful. Just more stuff. Okay, say
it can be revelation, it can be prophecy, it can be miracles, which are the core beliefs of Judaism.
At least you stopped kicking back and forth, though.
Arguments about quote proof for the Creator. Number one, that he gives order to a chaotic mass of material.
That doesn't prove.
He made that material from non-material, and as such, he's intimately involved in the creation.
Okay, wait. That was the proof. That was his proof. Okay, hold on. Let me go back because that actually sounded like something that I can make sense out of, maybe.
But quote proof for the Creator. Number one.
All right, here we go.
He gives order to a chaotic mass of material, and
all right, number one, he, assuming he gives order to material. So you pre-assume the conclusion of he by asserting that he gives order to the material. Okay, you already have a problem with your logic already. Keep going.
Number two, that he's made that material from non-material.
Number two, he's made the material from non-material. Okay, you're still assuming there is a he here, so that's a problem.
And as such, he's intimately involved in the creation.
And then your conclusion is that he's intimately involved in the creation, and that conclusion does not follow from either of those first premises. Your argument is not valid or sound. I don't even call it an argument anymore. It's just empty, baseless assertions that you've made. At no point in your video did you offer us proof of anything. Rabbi, you have failed. For shame. Now, give me $100 or $1,000. What did I ask for? Was it $1,000 or $100? It's $1,000 now. Give me $8,000, Rabbi. Why risk it? I mean, if I really have magic, then that's amazing, isn't it? Why risk it? Why not step outside the natural laws and pretend that I have magical abilities? I'm going to post a comment on this video. Let's see. Oh, okay. I already did. Damn it. I said by proof, of course, you mean bad arguments. Let's see. I must have missed the part when you gave proof. Your non-argument is so broken that it lobs help error. Have a nice flargly stick. That's lobster is for words you will not understand. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Watch my video. and give me $80,000 for magic. For magical spell that I will cast on whoever doing whatever. Why not take the risk chance that okay, that's the comment. All right. Pretty sure YouTube's going to post that as spam, but I don't care anymore. Thanks for watching. We had 0 empirical evidence, 0 repeatable tests, 0 valid and sound argument. We had absolutely nothing today. Yay! And it's not Christianity, it's Judaism. Yay! But of course, that means that if Judaism is incorrect, then Christianity can't be correct, and also Islam can't be correct. But please don't tell the Muslims, they might come and kill me. But hey, we can always blame the Jews. I wouldn't, because that might be considered hate speech. I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming anyone. But if I was to blame somebody, well, actually, it'd be God. Wait a minute. God made Jews. We blame the Jews for everything. We should blame God for everything. That's what's wrong with the world. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be fighting God. But we can't find God. It's almost like humans making up God or something. Nah. Stay skeptical, everybody. I'm done with this for now. Until next time. Is Blame the Jews a song from a Mel Brooks movie? Could be. But I don't know. You know, I mean, singing it might do stuff to my channel. Get flagged as hate speech or something. Let's say Mew. You know, the Pokemon. Yes, Mew. Here. Here we go. 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 Ho, 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 ho. Blame you for every single thing that's wrong. It's your fault. It's your fault. You said you had proof for your God, but you didn't give us any Hamad. I don't know what that means. It sounded Jewish, so I will sing. I mean Jewish, so I will sing. Oh, if I was a Mew man. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and post a comment. If I was a Mew man. And the stream before I lose subscribers. Blame the Muse, blame the Muse, blame the Muse, blame the Muse, blame the